I forgot my hammer. That's it. Call the meeting to order.
Jenkins.
Here.
Garden. Demaris. Here. Kelly.
Here.
Nestor.
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to move public comment to the beginning and give you the floor, Jerry. Yes, sir.
Okay, you guys all know that I've been griping about the tile and stuff.
Yes.
And I've been told that I had to go down to Clinton and get the proper paperwork to show that I am in the city limits and all that.
Got it.
And I think Larry Wooling is a fit man for the job that he's got. Because I found out that I can sue every one of you guys for the damages caused to my property, individually. And I don't want to have no problems with you guys. I just want to get the tile fixed. And it'd be nice if they paid for the hay that I've lost, too, you know, and the damage that's been done to my property.
No, I understand your frustration in all of this.
And it's been what?
Did they come out and dig? I know that we were sending somebody out. Then you talked to somebody.
No,
They have not. All right.
I haven't talked to nobody from the city. When Jed Reynolds...
I know. I thought Jed was coming out to.
I haven't talked to Jed,
All right.
but he knows where the problem's at. You know,
Okay. My understanding was Jed was on this, and I'll find out Larry's at the game tonight. I'll talk to Larry also to try to get a hold of Jed because, you know, last time we were here, I thought that was the direction that we were going, and I'm upset that we haven't gone that direction.
but why are we keeping Larry on as our city administrator when he doesn't even, he's worked for the city for 40 years and he still doesn't know where the city limits are at. And when I gotta go to Clinton and get government papers to show that my property's in the city limits, and I showed him my tax receipt before I went.
Well, again, I do understand your frustration, and I'll find out about Jed. So,
Well, what about Larry?
I mean, I can't.
You're
not
happy,
gonna speak.
you're happy with him
I'm
on
just-
the job that he's doing for the city?
I'm not speaking to that right now.
I mean, the man's got 40 years in. Turn him out to pasture. Okay. He's worse than bad livestock.
I don't know the analogy. So,
Okay, because he doesn't know what he's doing.
very good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. With that, we move to section 1, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Call it.
Jenkins.
Yes.
Demaris.
Yes.
Garden. Kelly.
Yes.
Nestor.
Yes.
Motion carried.
There being no unfinished business, we move to section 3, new business, and the first thing that we have on this evening's agenda under new business is Mr. Smith. Sir, you have the floor.
You gotta be the stand up here, back here.
Wherever you feel.
Between
If you could, we got a camera on you, if that's okay.
Okay. I had sent Sandy a draft financial statement and a draft internal control report.
Yes, and each one of us have one, yes, sir.
Okay. So the first thing I want to do is address the internal control report, which is the shorter section.
And here, those are separate.
This is,
I
you don't need the copy.
Okay.
I can just go over what's in it real fast. So this report has our management comments. So these are things that we think that the city can do better and improve their accounting function. So I'll just highlight the few things that we noted. and it's on the third page of the report. Or actually, the bottom of the second page is where it starts, where it says bank reconciliations. Do you have?
I don't think we have that. We have the full one.
Okay, anyway, I'll make sure that you get the final version of it when we finalize it. So, under bank reconciliations, we noted material differences within the bank reconciliations. We recommend the board review bank reconciliations on a monthly basis to ensure balances are appropriate and agreed to the general ledger. We also recommend that outstanding checks that are more than 3 months old should be canceled as part of tight controls over cash disbursement. These outstanding checks should be investigated, adjusted for separately, and payment stopped at the bank as necessary. We recommend consulting a representative at the accounting software company with any issues that may arise from voiding old checks. We also noted that one cash account with a zero balance was confirmed by the financial institution, but was not included in the city's cash reconciliations. We recommend management review and reconcile all cash accounts and close any unused accounts as applicable. Okay, so the gist of this is, for a number of years, there's been a difference between the cash balances on the general ledger and the bank reconciliation that Ruth would prepare. I mean, if it's a small difference, it's not as big of a deal, but it's the balance, the difference between the two balances are starting to get larger. So we need to help Ruth make an adjustment to make her bank reconciliation agree to the city's books, of which we did not make that adjustment for this financial statement, so there's a difference. But it's not material to our financial statement, but for control purposes, they should be the same. So once we help her get that reconciled, our advice would be she present the monthly cash balances to the council along with her bank reconciliations, and somebody on the council review that and make sure those are in agreement. And if they're not in agreement, then that difference needs to be investigated promptly and then fixed. That way that difference isn't an ongoing issue over a number of years. I mean, the difference keeps getting a little larger and a little larger. And the main cause of it is just your accounting software. It's fairly complicated and it's easy to make mistakes in it. And if something gets voided, it might be voided here and not voided somewhere else. It's just, and if it's not getting checked, those differences just continue to get larger. Now, I mentioned this last year that the accounting software was fairly cumbersome when I was here, but that's one issue. And then along those same lines, there was a lot of old outstanding checks, and we just recommend that if they get over a certain length, they should be voided, and the payee should be contacted, and a new check should be reissued to them. Or
what's the recommended 90 days?
So yeah, we said 90 days. If somebody hasn't cashed a check in 90 days, you can assume it's been lost, or there's some issue. So
But it says on the checks. But it says on the
Yeah.
checks.
most
They're just not getting voided.
Right.
Gotcha.
So that would be one of our recommendations. And then the third thing on there is in the confirmation that we sent to the bank, they confirmed an account that was still open but had a zero balance that wasn't in anything that Ruth gave us. So that's, I mean, there was no issue with it, but that's one way fraud can occur. An account that's open that nobody is actually monitoring. So those are our issues with cash. The second item we noted was the accounts payable paragraph, and discussions we had within our office today. On our final draft, our final copy of this, we will get rid of that paragraph. This was an issue last year, and it's been resolved. We didn't really note a whole lot of instances of it this year. It's just an accounting issue that we discussed with Ruth, and it's fixed. The final issue that we noted was the library. The library keeps their books separately and then gives Ruth a summary of transactions during the year. And that information that she's getting is not really detailed enough for her to really record it. So this past year she quit recording it. So that causes a problem. And for the financial statements, we took the library's records and summarized it to create the financial statement. But Ruth is of the opinion that the library is separate and should do their own accounting, and then at the end of the year, combine it with the city's records for the financial statement audit. They're, for the most part, halfway there doing it themselves. So this might be an issue that
You recommending they stay separate or they don't stay separate?
whatever is mutually agreed upon, but then it needs to be followed, because just not having everything accounted for isn't.
So they can do their own books.
They can do their own books.
They can combine
But
it,
they're
correct?
Yeah, they can give it to us and we
Sure.
will audit it the same as everything else, and then on the actual financial statement, we combine it. In the past, it was getting reported on the city's accounting software,
Okay.
but this year, just not all of it was recorded on the city's accounting software. So they can buy a cheap accounting software like QuickBooks or something that might cost $200, and they can do their own accounting. And the city is sort of a separate entity, but then it's not a separate entity. It needs to be combined with the city, but they could probably do their own bookkeeping. Okay, so that would be everything that's in our internal control management report. Moving on to the big financial statement. Okay, this is a draft, so if you come across anything that needs changed, let us know, otherwise we'll get it finalized. But the first thing that I would talk about is the independent auditor's report, which is on about the 4th page. It's where all the writing starts, right there. This is what we're actually providing for the audit. The financial statements are the city's, we just help prepare it, but that's the city's information. The audit report is what we're providing to the city. It's our opinion on the financial statements. So in the second paragraph, it describes management's responsibility for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. And the next paragraph discusses our responsibilities, and it just says that we conducted our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and the standards applicable to financial audits contained in government auditing standards. And the next paragraph pretty much describes what an audit is. And then the most important thing is the last paragraph of that page, which is the opinion. So this is us saying that we did not find any material misstatements in the financial statements. So the financial statements are fairly represented. This is an unmodified opinion, is what it's called when we agree with the financial statements. So that's what that's saying. On the following page, the very top paragraph is an emphasis of matter paragraph. And this was the big change to your financial statements during the year. There was a new accounting standard that was produced where in government accounting, you now have to disclose and put on the actual financial statements what your pension liabilities are. In the past, it was just a footnote disclosure that IMRF provided to us to put in the financial statement. But now it actually goes on your balance sheet, what that liability is. So this is a new item from prior years. So then moving on, 2 more pages. 3 more pages. Where it says statement of net position. This is the city's government-wide balance sheet, essentially. So your assets minus, or assets equal liabilities plus your net position. So the top line there is the cash and cash equivalents. So the city had $5.8 million in unrestricted cash at the end of the year. This compares to $5.7 million at the end of 2015. So a slight increase. And this was split between governmental activities and business type activities. Government activities had $2.79 million and business type activities had $3 million. In 2015, the governmental activities were just under $3 million and the business activities were $2.7 million. So your governmental activities cash went down and your business type activities went up. Your business type activities are your utilities. Governmental activities are the general fund, as the police, all that stuff. The next thing to note on this page would be the IMRF pension liability near the bottom, the last item on your liabilities. So this, less the deferred outflow of resources, which is about a third of the way down the first page. That's essentially what the city's future liabilities are for pensions, and it's about net of about $900,000. So based on current market conditions, that's what the city owes for current and future retirees, based on actuarial assumptions. So this is a moving target at all times. The actuaries for IMRF generates a report every year based on a whole lot of complicated formulas to try to come up with what each member of IMRF is.
What did you get, 900,000?
The 1.16 million
Yeah.
less the 210,000. That's right there. And after you read through all this, if you have any questions about it, let me know. There's a person in our office that is more knowledgeable about this topic currently than I am. He was the one that prepared that portion of the financial statement. So that's about all on that page. The total net position on the following page, this is essentially the city's equity. I mean, this is your assets minus your liabilities. So total net position for the city at the end of the year was $10,141,000. This is all your assets minus all your liabilities. That's what the city, if they had to liquidate what they would have. The following page is the statement of activity. So this is essentially the income statement for the city, and it spans 2 pages. So it's this and the following page. Sort of a cumbersome statement. But the gist of it is, when everything is said and done, the net income for the city on the bottom of page 10 was a negative $420,000 for the year. And most of that was due to the increase in the pension liabilities of the city. And most of that is market driven and actuarially driven, so it doesn't really affect the city per se in the near term. So, I mean, for your planning purposes, it's probably not a very useful number. And then, so those are the main highlights of the financial statement I was going to mention, but to just let you know other information in here. The next section are the fund financial statements. So this would be the detail of activity in each of your funds. As a general fund, tax increment financing fund 2 are your major governmental funds. And then you've got numerous non-major governmental funds, which in the back it summarizes each of those individual funds. And then the next page is a reconciliation between those fund financial statements and the government-wide financial statements, which I talked about in the previous section. So that just gets from fund financial statements back to the government-wide financial statements. Because the accounting method in fund accounting is different than accrual accounting, which is what the government-wide statements are based on. It's sort of goofy the way they do it, but those are accounting rules. Then the next portion, you have the statement of revenue and expenses for the government funds, which is essentially your income statement. And again, the next page is the reconciliation between that and the government-wide income statement. After that are your business type funds, your enterprise funds, which are the sewer fund, the water fund, and the electric fund. And that's the statement of net position, which is your balance sheet. And the following one is the statement of revenue and expenses and changes in fund net position, which is your income statement. And that will mirror the government-wide financial statement for business type activities, because both of those use accrual accounting as opposed to fund accounting. So there won't be a reconciliation for that. That'll in total match exactly what's under business type activities. The next page is just the cash flow statement for the business type funds. So if you look at the bottom of page 18, you'll see that the net increase in cash for business type funds was $332,000. So your sewer, water, and electric funds generated $330,000 in cash for the city. And then the next section are the notes to the financial statement. And this just gives a description of items that are actually in the fund financial statements and the government-wide financial statements. And if you get really bored,
Start at the beginning, just kidding.
now it starts on page 36 is note 7, and that is the big long note describing the IMRF liabilities and different assumptions that go into it. And all of this information is actually provided by the IMRF. So this isn't anything that the city provided us or that we came up with. It's straight from the IMRF system and the actuaries. And then that's essentially what's in your financial statement. You have some budget actual information for your major government funds that are on page about 47. So that's the general fund there. You'll see that you spend about $84,000 less than what was budgeted in the general fund for the year. And you brought in about $83,000 more in revenue than what was budgeted. So the net positive was $168,000. And then there's a reconciliation that goes from our accounting, which is modified approval compared to the cash basis of which you do your budgeting on the following page is what that shows. Then your other major fund that we would actually show between budget and actual is the TIP 2 fund, of which you spent slightly more than budgeted in the TIP 2 fund by $7,000. And then after that, you just have all the non-major funds, the balance sheet and income statement for the non-major governmental funds, which goes on for a number of pages. And then the last 2 pages are just a little statistical information on assessed valuations, property tax collections, legal debt limit, etc. And that would be what's in the financial statement. So we didn't finalize it because we didn't get all the information we needed soon enough to actually put our name on it. We just got that information on Thursday morning and we didn't figure it was worth putting our name on it. So as long as you guys are okay with everything after you've had a chance to review it, we've got that information now so we can sign our name to it and actually finalize it if you don't have anything that you see that needs change. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them now, or over the next week or two, if you come up with some questions, just feel free to contact me. Sandy and Ruth have my contact information, so you could call or email.
So the city of Farm City financially is pretty stable, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's stable.
And they got money in the green
Yeah.
where they can work on projects to get them fixed.
I mean, that would be at the discretion of the
City council.
and what they choose to
Are
spend.
there any questions to Mr. Smith this evening?
The information you needed to finish it, was that what you said you got from Ruth?
Yeah, so we received it. It was just confirmation that we needed from the bank. And we just,
That was the only thing that.
yeah, that was the only thing that we were waiting on. And we got it Thursday, but then you guys, I thought that Sandy needed it by about noon in order to get it.
She had big plans.
What?
She had big plans.
Okay, so I, instead of just rushing it and getting it signed, we just left it in draft format.
Did you send the summary report to Sandy?
The short one.
This one, yeah, she should have it.
Okay.
But I will make sure that you, if you don't get it, make sure that you let me know.
We'll make
Can you
sure
copy?
that we put a note, we can get summary report ASAP, because we'll be voting on this in 2 weeks, so we want that even before, the Friday before.
She's
Yes.
gone all week, can we send it
So
to
you
you?
You can have my copy, just so you.
Yeah, because
just
she's
so you
gone
have
all
it.
week.
And the one thing in there that, on the third page, under the paragraph accounts payable, we will delete that portion of it because we don't feel that that is relevant currently.
And the stuff with the cash accounts, that was recommendations for,
Yes.
as we go forward.
As we go forward. We think those are ways to strengthen the controls, accounting controls for the city.
How would you summarize the summary? Is our software, is our practices?
So, the main thing is just,
What would you change?
what I would change is I would have somebody from our office get with Ruth and make adjustments to get everything back in balance. And from that point going forward, having somebody on the board be accountable to reviewing the cash with Ruth on a monthly basis. And if something is off, having it corrected then. And then over, say, a year, if there's continuing problems that can't be resolved, and the city wants to spend money, at some point maybe you get different accounting software. Because this accounting software is the same that another one of our clients has, and they've got the exact same problem, so it's fairly cumbersome.
So it's a software issue.
I think a lot of it is software issue. I mean, obviously there's people out there that know the software that don't have issues with it, but the only two entities that I deal with that use it, they have issues with it, so it can't be that user-friendly. I think it's easy to make a mistake on it.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Yes.
And like I said, any questions, just feel free to contact me.
Next on our agenda, we have Mrs. McKinley. She'll be representing Heritage Day Committee. You have the floor.
We just wanted to formally let you guys know that we are going to part ways with the city. We are now Farmer City Heritage Days, Inc., and we have the 501c3 papers filed. We have a EIN number of our own and everything, so we are on the road to becoming a nonprofit organization. First, we wanted to start off by asking the money that was approved on July 18th. Can we get that check tomorrow or sometime this week?
It's in my books that it was paid.
No, we've never gotten it.
Check.
Yeah, we've called about it a couple times and
You see it?
Yeah, it's on this one.
we've never received a
They're
check.
separate on there.
We've never received a check.
No, that
It's in
involves.
September, so it's within the
Oh,
last
okay,
couple
so it's
weeks, mind
getting-
you. It
Okay.
shows it in September.
So after tonight, we should be able to get it tomorrow?
I have to read.
Couple days? Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay, so I guess, we're asking for the city, if the city could allot money for Heritage Days into their yearly budget. We're hoping that that can be something that we can get on board with to make happen, so, no one's surprised when it comes to this time.
Did you have a recommended amount?
I mean, we would like the full 10 that we got last year. So I guess that's what we're hoping for. I mean, we're hoping for a commitment, even though we're not going to be with the city. We're hoping for a commitment from the city, support-wise, to help us with, closing the streets, fencing for the beer garden, things that just, physically we can't do by ourselves. Electric, water hookup, moving picnic tables and bleachers, and, just the miscellaneous things that they help us with the day, leading up to it, a couple days leading up to it. And I mean, since contracts need to be signed as soon as possible after our event, we're hoping to assume that we have permission, just to go ahead and do all of that after each event ends. And if there was any sort of dispute, we would need to know right away.
As soon as possible.
Right, because, we're hoping that in years to come that we can start planning pretty much, a
Right after, which makes
a week after we end,
Absolutely.
just because where we're at right now, I mean, we're, being delayed by certain things and just, not having the money yet that was approved a few months ago has kind of set us back. So we just want to make a good event, and we would like to be ahead of the game as much as possible. So we are not crunching to get everything done in the last couple months leading up to it.
Did they give you an ETA on when you would be a 501c? I know it takes time to get all that.
Yeah, the papers are filed and everything, so
I got an email today.
yeah, I mean, I would think,
The next 30 days.
right, she said within the next 30 days, so it's gonna get pretty quick.
Everything's already been approved. They took our.
Yeah, it's been approved, we
Very
paid
good.
for everything, so
Through the state or the federal?
It's federal.
it's federal.
What about the state?
It's already, we filed through everything. We're incorporated through both.
Yeah, we have a
the federal
lawyer doing it
501c3.
for us, so we have
Very
somebody very knowledgeable doing it for us, so it's helping us. And just the final thing is we just want to have better communication with all department heads with the city. We just want to have a successful event in town. That's all we're wanting, so we're just hoping that we can all communicate a little bit better in the year 2017.
Are you going to be able to get the same carnival back?
Does the city council have any questions? So, I'm sorry, sir, that's no questions from the audience at this time. Does the council have any questions at this time? And I did write, the request is allotting the $10,000 on the yearly budget, and you're also requesting support from the city, some sort of letter from the support from the city now, so that you can make your, that's very fair, and of course, better communication.
Right.
Absolutely. So any other questions?
So what you're asking for is basically the status quo with less responsibility or accountability.
We still stay accountable.
We're having the same accountability. We can't
Yeah, it's the same
make
accountability.
it happen like the Open Meetings Act. We can't follow that. It's not going to work for us. And in order to do this, everybody wanted us to be a 501c. That's what we're doing. And we're doing what everyone wants us to do. I don't know what more we can do. We are a non-for-profit. We have to do financials every year for this. We have to be accountable with the government. And to me, that is, that's ultimately what matters. So as long as we make a good event for this town, I don't see what the problem is. We're a non-for-profit, so we have to have financial paperwork. We have to do it every single year. So, we're not putting anything past anybody. We're not keeping.
We have
money.
several not-for-profits in the community that are not getting nearly the support that you guys are getting.
Like who? Can you give me examples?
Racetrack.
Okay, is that my problem? It's not my fault. They're not, are they coming up here? Are they here tonight? Do they have an event with as many people as we have? It's totally different. The racetrack has nothing to do with this. Totally
I understand.
separate.
You
Totally
asked for,
separate.
you asked for comparison, I gave you a comparison.
Okay, well,
There's all sorts of nonprofits in town that could ask, and breath, and
Right.
there's
There's
tons of them.
many,
There's
many
Girl Scouts,
nonprofits.
Scouts, any of that stuff. And I recognize the Open Meetings Act would be impossible for 5 people to function.
Right, I mean, 3 of us
in
literally
short
have
term.
kids in
I
the same
completely
6th grade
understand.
class. There's no possible way we
And
could do that.
since we've done it for a couple of years, can you, like, if you itemize like the city particulars, I think
Yeah.
that would help to have it. I mean,
Like,
I know
what do
you
you
know
mean?
a lot of what the particulars are as far as putting things out. And we kind of you had a time frame-ish of how long it takes to put the poles out to set up.
Right.
If you could itemize it, I think it would help to see it.
Yeah,
I mean, because I
absolutely.
know a lot happens behind the scenes and a lot happens when you talk to them, but it's not visible to everybody that's at work those 10 hours during the day while things are happening.
I
So-
have the stuff that we gave them last year, we can put a little bit more into it, like the
Yeah.
beer garden is not in it, but yeah. we
And
can-
then there might be things that the city knows that they did on top of that they had to prep for to do that, you know. It helps to see, and then maybe then they could estimate how much that's gonna cost in manpower,
Well, when this
plus the
began,
request, you see what I'm saying? So you can average it out, it doesn't have to be 10, we can talk about that part.
well, I'm saying, when this began, Larry was very clear that the fund is nearly drained.
Right,
Which
they're not
means
asking
it-
for that now.
But there's a
They're not
hotel
asking for
motel
that now at
tax
all.
which keeps building throughout the year. So it's not something that's drained and no money's going back into it. Money is always going back into it because it's a hotel motel tax.
This is
We
a
have
request for money
hotels,
now.
motels.
And we'd like it to go into the
It's
budget.
it's a request for commitment for money in the future.
Okay. What do I have to say?
Put in
It's
the
just a
budget,
request.
you put the racetracks $5,000 into the budget every
All I'm
year.
asking is that you just put us, at least consider us to be in the budget, so this is not a battle every single time, because we have proven that we are bringing people to town. I mean, we are trying to involve as many groups within this community as we can to help them out. So it's not like we're charging them anything. Any non-for-profit that wants to do anything in that park, they absolutely can. We are, we have other things planned for this event that's going to be different. We're going to do a community dinner. We're going to let a non-for-profit be the ones that reap the benefits of it, and we're going
Well,
to
you have the
provide.
Fireman's Club.
Yeah, we already do that for the fireman's breakfast. We pay. Heritage Days
Chamber of
pays for that
Commerce.
breakfast, and then they get all the donations, and we don't take a dime from them. We don't ask them to pay us back. We don't, nothing. No money comes back to us. So we try to help out as many groups within this community as we can. Plus, we try to make a good event for the town to where people can walk from their houses, not cross a highway, and get up here. I mean, that's all it is. And we are trying to showcase our downtown because we have a great Main Street. I am a business on Main Street, and let me tell you, I have windows that surround my whole business, and I watch Main Street every single day, and we have a great Main Street. It is becoming more and more lively, but if we can't have something to look forward to, like this event, I mean, I just don't know what our town is coming to, honestly.
How many new businesses came down after Heritage Days last year?
Are we supposed to bring in new businesses? I
You
mean,
just
that's
said
not
you
our
brought
responsibility. The businesses in this town closed down. They didn't support us. There were certain businesses in this town that say that they deliver their products, that didn't want to be open, didn't want to deliver anything. There were people I watched go up to the doors that were locked and try to pull on them and couldn't get in because those businesses chose to be closed. Not my problem, not my fault. I can't do anything about it. We are trying to work with everybody as much as possible. We have reached out to ISU, to their marketing department to see if they can help us to try to entice the businesses in Farmer City to understand how beneficial this could potentially be to them, and they thought that it was justifiable enough to put it on their board for all their professors to look at. So, we are doing as much as we can. I try to go to the Chamber of Commerce meetings. I try to do anything I can to be as neutral and as open as we can. Anything that anybody on this council wants to see about Heritage Days, we were never trying to keep it a secret or keep it from anybody. We're an open book. All we're trying to do is something positive for the community. That is it.
The reports that I received last year were not an open book. They were inadequate.
In what way?
They
What
lacked
was inadequate?
They lacked detail. They
Like
lacked
what
financial
detail? Can you be specific
They
about what
lack-
was lacking?
I can't be specific because I didn't get specifics.
But what did you think was lacking? What
Yeah.
were you specifically thinking is lacking?
The financial detail. I figured last
What?
year, financial specifics,
Okay.
where money came from, where money went.
And we didn't give you all the list of all the places that donated to us and where the money was in all the bank statements that we have.
The bank statements did come, yes.
Okay, so that has copies of the checks, that has copies of deposits. I mean, I don't know what more you want. I don't understand what all we're supposed to do. We're volunteers. We're not being paid to do this. I'm not understanding what exactly you want out of us. We're mothers. We're volunteers in the community. I mean, we have full-time jobs as well. I mean, we're not super women. I mean, we can't do everything, so I don't know what we're supposed to do. We're not doing anything deceitful, and I feel like that is how you're spinning this a little bit, so.
Last year, we approved $10,000, and by the time the city gave you the money and provide all the services, we rented this for almost $18,000.
And where's the proof of that? Can you show me proof of the $8,000 more being added to that because of what the city's done? Show me proof. I want to see proof. You want to see proof of our stuff, right? You want to see specific financials. Well, I want to see specific financials of that. I want to see where that $8,000 is coming from because I cannot wrap my head around it. No idea where that would be coming from. Where? Can you tell me where you think it's coming from? Okay.
The city workers that are working for Heritage Days on the clock. That's where most of that came from. The police department that works for Heritage Days.
Were you here? Do you know how many hours they work for us? Or did you see it with your own eyes?
Larry gave me a report that
just you or everybody? Did everybody get the report?
I asked for the report.
And how did he break the report down?
He broke it down by department and by.
And so they clocked in just for Heritage Days, like they were on the clock just helping Heritage Days, and that's
they
how
were on Farmer City's clock when they were working your event.
Okay, well it was a city event then. We were under the city at that time, so they really technically should have been helping us, correct?
What you're saying now is that you don't want the status quo. You're willing to take the money without the services.
In order to have the services, in order to be under the city, you are requiring us to follow an Open Meetings Act that is impossible for us to follow, sir. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? We can't follow that.
And now I have a kid too. So I understand where you're at. I'm still making time to do events. I'm still making time for the council.
Hey, do you get paid to sit on this council? You do get paid. You do get some sort of monetary. All right, so I don't get paid. And I use a lot of my own money to make this event on Heritage Days happen, so I don't appreciate you comparing me and you, because we're not comparable. It's not even on the same level. What you're doing is totally different.
Any other questions? Comments?
For the record, I get $95 a month to do this. Almost $30 or 30 hours a week.
Oh, hey, that's
It
more
takes
than
a lot
I
of
do.
research to find this stuff out.
Well, I put a lot of hours in for Heritage Days, and I don't get paid a dime.
You could say that both positions have to be respected, one in volunteer and one in commitment and time, and it's not even worth enough because there is, livelihood a bit on the line. So let's respect both spots. Breathe, guys, seriously.
I'm very impressed by your just moving forward with the 501c, and I think that does give you accountability. And I personally, as a citizen of Farmer City, appreciate that very much so. And I do appreciate the work that everybody does. And I understand volunteer work is very difficult, and I think there's a lot of proof. So I have no further questions. I do believe, without a doubt, I'll say that I do believe that Heritage Days will come up at the next council meeting, probably officially separating. We'll need to do that, I think. I'll check with legal on that just to make sure. If we don't have to, then I'm not going to put it there. The one request for $10,000 in the yearly budget, one issue that I'm just going to throw out there that you can anticipate every year is, even if there's no such thing as a long-term commitment, even if you're on the budget $10,000 this year, it's going to be debated that year, and then the following year after that. So, in a nutshell, yes, you do have to make the argument every year.
Yeah, that's
very
fine.
good. So, I think there needs to be some. Obviously, you can sense debate and discussion here. So I think that it would be in everybody's best interest to have that discussion and debate sooner rather than later, so that you know exactly what's going to happen with the city and our response. So
Question?
you
Is it an issue?
don't have to ask, you can yell at me.
Is it an issue for their meeting and everything now until you officially make it? Because they said they pulled away. There's not going to be an issue, right, for them? I was just curious how that worked
Is
out.
there going to be a what?
Like, they're meeting normal without Open Meetings Act now, that's not an
They
issue
are,
with them, right?
they're a
Okay, I was
not-for-profit
just-
organization. Well, I mean, yeah, even if they were not, they're not currently one, but even if they were a not-for-profit organization, they're not subject to the Open Meeting Act. No. Very good. Are there any questions and statements? So, I like your command to breathe. So, thank you very much.
Can we do liaisons for certain things that are like
Go
temporarily
with,
vague?
ask that question, write your question down, but put it under number 2, not agenda items and other business.
Deal.
Moving on to section 3, new business.
Make a motion for resolution 2016-23 Farm City Garden Club donation.
Need a second for discussion.
Second.
Discussion.
The standard yearly
It's,
tradition.
well, I mean, it's standard in the sense that they ask every year. I don't know what they asked last year. I think it was 500. This year they're asking for 1,000.
I see, he said they upped it to 1,000 last year. But
They
I,
asked for it, but I don't know that they got it.
okay. And this covers the planters all year long, does that sound
Yeah.
right?
Anything they need for the park.
And then the downtown business and the park, is that right?
The park, and then in the city planners. So, of course, they've done the trellis work over here. They do an awesome job. I mean, the place looks absolutely beautiful. And Mrs. McKinley, addressed that the Main Street looks beautiful, and no small part. That we must attribute that to a lot of the volunteers that work with the Garden Club. So, I'm personally in favor of the 1,000, but any discussion?
Is the money there, and do we want to split the difference?
This is the money, well, this money is coming from the hotel motel tax, so it's not coming from the general budget. Yes, that money is in that account. What happens is when somebody stays at the hotel, they pay additional taxes, that goes into that fund, and we use that for tourism.
We might need up more motels.
We do need that.
I can tell you from buying flowers this year that they are expensive.
Yeah.
So according to this one, it shows like 2,700 usually general fund balance. Does that sound right? Front page of that.
No, it's not going to be in the general fund.
It's not the general fund.
It's the hotel motel tax in the general fund, not that one.
Yes, it would be that one. I'll be on it.
This is ending July, is that current enough?
Yes. No. I'm wondering, is that expenditures? Where,
The year-to-date actual is all I was looking at. I don't,
This is revenue,
okay, it's revenue.
because you've got your.
2762 is what has gone in. That's not
In that
necessarily
three-month
what's
period?
in that
that's
balance.
what went in that 3-month period.
Went
Okay.
into that. No, that's year to date. That's since April.
3 months, okay.
With no, is there any other discussion? Call it.
Wait, how much are we voting on?
1,000, can't, that was
Nobody
change it.
has made a motion to reduce it, so I'm calling on the 1,000.
Morris,
Yes.
Martins, Kelly,
Yes.
Testor,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
motion carried.
Mike?
Let's see.
Moving on to new business.
Make a motion for resolution 2016-24 regarding temporary closure of the state of right-of-way annual community events, for annual community events.
Second.
Discussion.
Does anybody have any idea what this permit costs us?
No, I don't. I didn't ask that. I know that this was
initiated by the homecoming parade.
Well, what happened is, I mean, in years past, there hasn't been a problem. The issue is that we have found that it would be a violation of standing ordinances to allow it to continue. So that's why we're coming back to change this,
So
so.
either reroute the parade or
You would have to reroute the parade.
You would have to.
And this would be Memorial Day parade, homecoming parade.
Homecoming, I mean, it's just if anything that you close for longer than, or public highway that you close for longer than 15 minutes requires an IDOT permit.
I do not know what that costs.
Yeah, IDOT man, you know what it is. Okay, let's check.
Let's sit on this and see.
Homecoming is
That
in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think
If
about
you
that.
sit on this,
We're not gonna have time.
we're not gonna have time.
What is their, what is their route? I've not been to homecoming.
It's,
They go down
school,
John, take a left on 54, and
down
then
Main Street.
down Main Street.
Yeah.
So it's
To the
just
square.
a brief
But
closing.
It really is very brief.
I couldn't imagine a permit would be much anyway.
And you're gonna have to do it if you're gonna use it
Yeah.
ever. I mean, you don't really have a choice.
For the kids.
Yep.
It is, and the school
We could
is,
just make them take the long route and go down to 150 and back.
I won't say the school would be devastated, but they were, this was
Surprised.
definitely surprising to them, so. Any other discussion? Go ahead and do a roll call.
Harding, Kelly,
Yes.
Testori,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
DeMars.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Forgot homecoming was next.
Yeah, it's gonna be soon. Moving on to new business.
Make a motion for ordinance 966, amending ordinance 949, regulating hours at all city parks.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Is there any other further information on this as far as hours?
Yeah, there's 2 hours on it.
I mean, you know, we've got 2 city parks, we've got one that's got a campground in it. Obviously, it's gonna have to have different hours between the two. Or split the campground
I
off.
don't know if they're actually requesting a specific time because the request could be for, I mean, Halloween might be requesting till 11 or 12, and then,
Well, and this is, you know, I mean, you've got organizations wanting to use the city parks after normal hours, so.
And I think this request was generated by the Halloween event for the single park for specific hours, going to midnight.
So it's allowing us to change them for such events, is that what this?
Yes, that's what it looks like this is for.
it doesn't, Section 1 states that it just can't exceed normal operating hours. I don't know if they're, well, it's not a matter of knowing,
Can
it's,
exceed.
it's just one of those, this would probably be a general statement, that if somebody requests, and they are authorized, I think that's big, authorized civic organization, they authorize it, it's just in the ordinance stating that if it goes after, they have that permission.
Sure.
So,
Fair enough.
I don't see a need for a specific time on that. Any other discussion?
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Kelly,
Yes.
Testori,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
DeMars.
Yes.
Harding. Motion carried.
We're moving on.
Make a motion for ordinance 967, 2015 to 2016, prevailing wage.
Second it.
Any discussion?
This is
Can't
just
be
saying that they have prevailing wage that
Yep.
That's correct, Joe, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. And there's a delay, the Department of Labor didn't produce the report. And I don't know which year report are you using?
It says July of 2015 is
Yes,
what's
yeah, that actually was the recommendation from the Department of Labor. They did not produce prevailing wage rates, and so what they recommended was pass the ordinance again, but use the latest available, which was July of 2015, which, as a lawyer, I found was quite intriguing because you've already done that last year. But if the Department of Labor wants you to do it again, well, then you should do it again.
And on that, call it.
Castleberg,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Marks,
Yes.
Harden, Heller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That moves us to the city manager's report. Of course, the city manager is not here. Most of the things in the report were covered, things that we discussed this evening. One thing to note, the water tower has been scheduled for its washing, mildew off, and of course there were other points. Any question to the manager's report?
I got a question. Maybe not. I might be thinking it wrong, so sorry.
The Prairie Ridge, I went out there the other day, the day they were doing it, and they had over half of it done. I did not go back out there. What's it look like now, Mary?
Looks much better, the trees are clear.
They got through all of it.
Yeah, and we still have a pretty good stream or a trickle of water, it's more than a trickle. And that's from, I assume, I don't know, the property, the farmland north of the subdivision.
Okay, I haven't been out there to look,
Yeah.
so, okay.
And looks like they moved some equipment around today. My husband and I walked out there last night. I think it's gonna take some time, it's gonna have to dry out before they can dig some more.
Okay.
So it's gonna be work in progress. But
And
it's looking very, we appreciate it.
There's always going to be water coming out of those tiles
Yeah.
off the field, so, I mean, we've had so much rain that
Yeah.
probably are not more than a trickle, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's more than a trickle, it's not like a
Sure.
rush, but, yeah, like I said, we appreciate it. We are moving forward and we definitely appreciate it, so, but it is gonna be work in progress.
And I think he said that's just, there's no concrete or anything involved in that, this particular spot. It was just to level it out, make a better detention.
It's coming, thank you.
Any other questions to the city manager's
All
report?
right, I'm gonna go ahead, because I have a big question about the oil and chip. I was
Yes.
listening to a story the other day about somebody oiled and chipped the road and a farm tractor went through it. Are any of our roads open to farm equipment? Is this scheduled so that we don't suffer that kind of?
Yeah, and we actually had some concerns about, we were
I mean,
really,
harvest season's not a great time to be doing this.
we were upset. And the manager was also additionally upset that it took them this long because there's temperatures that need to, we have to have certain temperatures for it to even set.
So is this something we
Right,
put
so-
off till next year?
It won't matter. It's already been done on certain places.
Okay.
They've already done the spray. I mean, where was it that I saw it was running the other day?
I don't know where it was that this farm went through the oil and chip.
Yeah, John Street.
North John,
North John's been done, so, I mean, it's supposed to be nice, or, I mean, the heat's supposed to be high this week, but as of next week, it's like 71 degrees.
All right.
So, they were really late, and, not very happy with
I
that.
just want to make sure we don't get damage from
The
harvest.
problem is if it does not embed into the road, it's just loose rock on top.
If the tractor scraped it off, it's gone anyhow.
Yeah, you got there's a lot of truck traffic on John Street. Of course, there is, over there, you're gonna have some
John
problems.
Street, I mean,
Yeah,
semis.
yeah, you're gonna have quite a bit, so
All right.
it is an issue. So
It's
with
shutting
the,
down real good.
on the city manager, after the city manager's report, we go to non-agenda items and other business. You had something.
Yeah. Would it be better for us to have like liaisons for certain things? Since we can't, culminate like this and fill each other in, it'd be nice to have one of us, just reach out and get a heads up on the Farmer City Heritage Days or like the Prairie Ridge, and then, send it out individually to each other. That way it's not,
You're saying
Otherwise, you know,
have a
Scott might be
liaison,
asking
have a
Mary questions,
liaison
and
that
I'm asking Mary
serves,
questions.
or
and-
serves under or with, or at
Yeah,
least communicates.
so just
to Heritage
liaison,
Days.
and then reports back
You
here.
could, yeah, you would report back to the council. I mean, you can always do individual, you know, talk to each one individually, but I mean,
Like even the budget thing, like you said, having
I think
some- one
Heritage
person
Days, although I don't
talk
want to
to-
speak for them, but I've heard them request numerous times that they want more people. So I don't think that they would hesitate, you know, just kind of reaching out and
They threatened to
discussing.
put us to work.
Huh?
I'm just thinking.
So, and then, obviously that subdivision out there has been,
But there's more to do with it. Now we've got the playground. I know Larry's been doing it, but I know we're all asking Larry for updates. But that's gonna be a pain in the butt to answer
It
different
is.
updates. So if you have one person that was.
it is absolutely a wonderful idea to have somebody on the council. And then, I mean, we can talk, I mean, first we could talk with the individual groups, and then we could talk one-on-one, or even here at the council, and see who would like to do that. But I think that it's
Like the
As far as construction projects go, it is Larry's job to try to
Oh,
keep
yeah.
us updated, and
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're getting them, but
Yeah, so I've got the blurbs and stuff too, but, you know, to have him go out every time it's kind of nice to have somebody else see, oh, this is happening. You know, that's why I went out there to look and see. I take pictures, I post on Facebook, I tagged them all, like, look, they're out there.
I do have a question. I have a question about the budgeting. The budgeting for the electrical budgeting.
yes.
There's I don't have the right name. What's the name of the thing I was just talking about? Where you sign up for
Oh, yeah, budget billing.
budget billing. There we go.
Oh, yeah, we make that year
And I
round.
was ever get that. Yeah, I was reading through that, and that seems pretty restrictive. You got to be in a house for 12 months to get that. You got to have it in by October 10th.
Well, the restriction of the year is normal, because they want a year's full of budget of what you've spent.
But unless you build a brand new house, electric plant will have some idea what the house is used.
Yeah, 5 people, 2 people.
I mean, we did.
It really is normal for the person, but the 1 month of the year is kind of tough. That
We-
1 month to turn it in.
We did budget billing in Rantoul, and the budget billing fluctuated. If you were using more, they saw that, and they added a little to it, took a little down. But the concern, that where I read on there, it says if you miss a payment, you're out of the billing program. If you bounce a check, you're out of the billing program. You gotta be on by October
I thought-
10th.
I thought that was pretty, I mean, I'm trying to think back to when I was.
I'm asking if we can find some way to make it more user-friendly.
Yeah. I can't.
Promote it.
So
How can we promote it? Make it user-friendly? and
I
promote it?
guess what we need to do is probably we can have Larry bring all the information to the table at the next meeting. We can discuss it and see, and make, you know, give recommendations on how to make it more friendly, and then hear the objections at that time if they have objections. So, because like the 12 months, I would think,
Well, I mean,
problem, why do that? But you brought up a good point. You need to have, you know, some sort of.
I mean, my concern is why can you only get in October?
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, that's the big
That's more
concern.
tougher.
Because July,
If you
you're
don't get
thinking
in
about it.
in October,
Sorry.
you're just out. And if somebody moves here in January and wants to get in 6
even
months
next
down the road,
January, they have to wait another 10 months, yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. Do you have an answer to that? Because
Some of that is software. And Ms. McKenna, when you set it up on the full pay, it'll switch off the penalties. So you have to review them every year, because you don't want people after 12 months missing 12 payments, and then you're missing all the penalties. It's a lot of software, and I can show you that.
Well, I understand. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't let people miss 12 payments either.
It doesn't catch on our system when you're missing it on the full pay.
Is that the same
That's
So
software?
that's why
As
it's
the whole
reviewed.
town thing? Is
So
that what you're
that's why
saying?
it's reviewed every 12 months. That's the question on that. And as for October, I don't know why we pick 1 month over there to
Because,
start it.
yeah,
But it is.
because July's when everybody's thinking about how high the bill is.
Agreed.
Maybe we could make the automatic debit thing a condition of new signers to the program. So you don't miss that thing.
it's worth discussing. I mean, the October thing, I think, is I don't see why it needs that way, but maybe if there's a software issue, I mean, under his breath, it was, I mean, a great statement. Well, maybe we need to update our software. Obviously, at least in another area, that's something to consider, so. I know that, at least in regards to software, I've had personal problems with the online thing to where it's hit me twice one time, so.
I mean,
Yeah.
whether you're financially astute or not, it is a great program.
No, it is, it is. I mean, just
I don't think the
makes-
city's making a huge amount of interest off the money they're collecting.
yeah. So we'll bring that to a review of budget billing. You make that note too.
Sure.
Very good. Any other non-agenda items?
I have a question on the, since Pete has left, is that advertisement still there for an officer?
The advertisement is currently up, yes.
I see this as generating a lot of overtime at the moment. I read that we're going to lose our officer at the school because she's willing to come out here to be on duty.
Okay.
Probably not in the right situation we need to be in. The school's paying half her salary.
Yes. Your recommendation?
We need to, I see officers that work during the day, working at night. I don't know, I just see it generating a lot of overtime at the moment. We don't have, even with the officers that we had on duty, we didn't have 24/7 coverage. So now that we've lost a full-time, I mean, you're losing another 40 hours a week.
Yes.
How many part-time officers do we have?
I can't give you the exact number.
I thought 4, there said 2.
No,
There's not 4.
no. One of the problems with part-time officers is that they have full-time jobs. So it's not as easy as just saying, okay, you're a part-time employee, you're going to work 30 hours a week and that's it. So a lot of them are, one of them I can tell you is 50, 60 hours a week at the power plant. So if you call him up and say, hey, I want you to work part-time, it's kind of hard for these guys to do it. So you got 3 or 4 to choose from, yet some of them are officers elsewhere. So they can't just necessarily drop what they're doing and come and pick up a shift. If they have that open, they will. So that is one problem when it comes to your part-time officers. We don't have any, well, we have at least one I know that is pretty regular part-time, but they don't have guaranteed part-time hours. They have a full-time job somewhere else. They're on our force in the sense that we can utilize them and try to request them.
So more like PRN, not part-time.
They're
As
probably,
needed.
They're on call. Their availability is on call. If they
At
want
their
those
discretion.
hours, and they can work those hours, and they'll take them. Am I correct?
yes. So, it's not, they're not regular.
Right, but it's at
Most
their,
of them
it's
are
at
working
their
their days
discretion.
off at their regular job.
Is there a way to have that ahead of time, like say, okay, we need you to pick 2 days next month, so that way they can configure our
That's good,
full-time
but if
people
they
around
need them
it?
for 50 hours,
You can't,
On a
well, yeah,
40-hour
we're
job.
looking at a couple of slots that we're trying to fill. I would say it's, from what I've gleaned from just discussion, it's kind of hard because the people who are part-time officers are they're professional, officers that have overtime and, duties that they have. So, I mean, you're just not going to necessarily guarantee those hours and days.
The problem I see with adding people is that we've got a police audit that's due to be completed, I think, in about 4 weeks. And we don't know what that's going to bring up. Also, I was talking to another guy about the Police Training Institute out over at the U of I. And it's possible, I think maybe it's probably likely, we probably should look at younger officers who are new to the force. And they surely have a lower starting wage, being new officers. And possibly Larry could run down some grants that would help to pay for them to get on the force.
grants are getting slim.
I know, but how many grants are we getting?
How many,
How
what?
many grants do we get? How many grants has Larry got brought us over the last few years?
I don't have a number, but I mean, I would hesitate to say many. I won't hesitate to say nothing. But on that, the comments that were made earlier, that we have a police audit that's due in, what, about
He said
about a month,
He
right?
said he'd get a second meeting by October.
And in discussions that I've had with probably some of you one-on-one, I do think that there's a lot of weight to saying, let's wait until the audit is done, and then we can obviously make some decisions there. But at the same time, there's some weight to bringing an officer on right now, because no matter who's on the force, whatever changes are recommended, we're going to have to make those changes to existing officers anyway. So,
And the school board is not going to want to pay for an officer that they're not able to.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but if he's in the midst of doing this and we do hire somebody, it gives him the ability to go over and use them in this study also, instead of waiting.
I asked Larry about the open position. He said they're accepting applications, but they're not hiring. That's what he told me.
I've told him not to hire at this time unless, obviously, the city manager has, that's his position. He is the one who interviews and
That's just
hires.
what he-
I just said that right now, it is the city council's position that we really want this audit done. Just for the safety of the community, though, the problem is arising that we have multiple officers now not here. So I can't, although I do have some information, stuff that I can't share with, but there may be some direction, some leeway. I don't know, do we want to open up the discussion on whether or not we lift that and give Larry the opportunity to hire if somebody has, in fact, is a viable candidate?
I think you come up with younger officers that can relate to the kids in this town.
Okay.
New officers, I don't mean. I'd like to see new guys come on.
Okay.
Police training type guys.
Right.
They all have.
You gotta be
police
careful.
training.
No, I
So
mean,
you gotta be
guys
careful
are
with
coming out of
specifying
the
young.
institute.
Well, we're just,
No, you can't say that, yeah. I know, that's what I'm saying.
We probably can't specify age.
No, you can't.
ultimately, we don't pick the person that's Larry's position, hire the viable individual, so.
It's not Andy's position. I mean,
Well, yeah,
he is the guy, the supervisor.
he is the supervisor.
And this guy was a full-time officer, too?
Yes.
Yes.
I think the car was still there. I know
He's done
getting-
last Friday.
He was done.
He wrote me a ticket.
I would,
Sayonara.
unless there's any
No,
objection,
it was a good ticket.
unless there's any objections from the council,
What is that?
I would, and I think each of you should, just reach out to Larry, of course, the chief, and just, to Larry, excuse me. Larry is your employee. But have that conversation with him. I do know that there has been an application or more turned in, and there are some viable individuals. So I would say that we as a council take that stop hire off of him.
Okay, would it be realistic for Larry to ask Paul or Carter to ask the guy doing the audit to see if it's recommended? Before
We
it's
can
completed?
reach out. That's
So
fair.
I say, look, this is what we're at right now. I know it's coming full in a month, but this is where we're at. Is it okay, or is it
That's a
going to
good
cost
idea.
us
He might
much?
have some good insight.
We're trusting him to do this audit.
It's a good idea.
It takes a little bit of the pressure off.
So how about I have Larry reach out to Chief Carter
Chief Carter, yeah.
and kind of touch base with him, and then I will speak to each one of you individually. I can't, of course, when I'm speaking to you individually, I can't ask or anything. I will just be able to tell you the direction that's going. So, we say, am I correct on that? I can inform, but we can't come to any decision. So if under Chief Carter's, I'm just kind of getting the action plan here, under Chief Carter's recommendation, unless there's any major objections, and Larry should be allowed to hire an officer.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I really
Okay.
do. I'm seeing guys working, 2 shifts in one day, and that's too much.
Okay.
Things get missed that way.
All right. Any other non-agenda items?
No, sir.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call it.
Jenkins,
Who?
Bacon,
Yes.
DeMarco,
Yes.
Harden, Kelly,
Yes.
Hessler.
Yes.
Motion carried.